your minds and mine, and it's to wake you up, AF. So please if you've been here last week, you were here last week, put up your hand. Cool. You got cheat sheets, so some gather around the pandit Paul. Some gather around, I forgot your name, Peter, the pandit Peter. Some gather around the pandettas, Sarah and Rachel. And Hannibal, would you take a group?
Sure.
Peter will give you some papers. We only need one. So you've got 10 minutes to do the quiz for last class, okay? I'm not putting up the cheat notes up here at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Short one. I don't like this.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll see you at 8:10. Please make sure you're in a group. Something shifted in my mind over time, and then something horrible still there, informing me, telling me that the world is a certain way, and when I go and it looks shiny and lovely, and I go and touch it and it dissolves. And I'm like, whoa. And then the world, I can get happy doing this thing, and I go towards it ignorantly, sort of sucking my mind into believing I could get it, and I get close to it and it disintegrates. Or I hold it for a second and then it disintegrates. And I'm talking about real things, like physical things, like homes you build and buy and renovate, bank accounts that have big numbers and then have tiny negative numbers, and then have big negative numbers. Yeah? And this has happened on this planet for millennia to beings just like you. They just looked different. Yeah, they had things, but inside, exactly the same. Exactly the same. I want happy. I want more gold. I want a house. I want babies. I want relationships. I want health. But you only want it when you're sick. Yeah? The point of this class is, the point of this philosophizing is you're going deep into the mind of the Buddha, who explained his teachings in 3 different ways, 2 of which seem contradictory to the others. And the real point of it is through this investigation, just like when we meditate. When we meditate, we get a little respite from the busyness, external and internal, and you get the opportunity, you get the gap between stimuli and response, right? If you meditate enough, you get a little gap between going, you hurt me, I'm going to punch you in the face. When you meditate, you're like, you hurt me, I'm going to... Maybe I shouldn't punch her in the face. Yeah? So you get a little respite. The gap that you get in meditation doesn't give you the wisdom that you need to not punch her in the face. Because punching her in the face will cause more hurt for you later. Make sense? A little bit? So the wisdom in this class informs you when you create that gap between stimuli and response. And all the bits of information we got here, believe me, they add up. There's something beautiful that happens when you finish these 18 courses and you begin to see this body of work that all ties together perfectly. And you can't see it as you're looking at this part of the engine, the pistons, and then you're looking at that part of the... Do they still have pistons in electric cars?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. The other part of the engine that cools it. And, you know, when you're looking at the parts of the engine, you're busy looking inside that part and that part and that part. And that's what each course is doing. But when you finish, you realize, oh my goodness, that connects to that thing I did 2 years ago, which connects to that. And all of a sudden, you get to see a sense. And if you've been studying in this room for 4 years or more, I believe you've already got a sense of that, how karma works with emptiness, how bodhicitta works with Vinaya and the rest. Do you get that, some of you? Yeah? You get that there is like a...
What's Vinaya?
Ethics. Yeah. Okay, so... I'm going to do this one to death. Look, the point of this thing, the bottom line for the middle way school, okay, which is not what we're studying here, right? But it's where we came from to study here. That school, His Holiness the Dalai Lama's school, the highest school, not because they're better, but because it's a more sophisticated way of understanding your reality. And that school is all about this idea called emptiness. Yeah, tongpanyi, shunyata. Yeah. So understanding that is a big deal. Why? Why is that a big deal? What's the point?
How you get what you get.
Huh?
So you understand how you get what you get.
So you understand.
You don't have to suffer. But nothing happens for no reason.
Nothing happens for no reason. That's the positive side of tongpanyi, of emptiness. That there's two sides to a coin, right? There's the emptiness and there's the dependent origination. How things come about and what things are not. Yeah? The way things are not is the way we think they are. We think things exist out there through some own power of their own, some own nature, something that is projecting that reality into us. And because we think that way, I hate you because you hurt my feelings. Yeah? You just smiced at me. Why? What did I do to you? Yeah? Veronica, what's your name? Victoria. Why did you do that to me? Don't you know I hate that? Yeah? So then all of a sudden I'm like, why is she doing that? She's so annoying. Right? Is that annoying out there? Is that annoying?
No.
But by its nature. Logically we know impossible, right? Why? Because if a really sexy person, sorry, wrong sex, looked at you like that, you'd go, ooh. Right? It would be attractive, assuming that was a sexy thing for you. Yeah? So where did my reaction come from to get that bothered me? Where did that come from? From me, right? We know that now that we're all peaceful and relaxed and talking in a safe room. Is that really how you live your life?
Not always.
No? Who got annoyed or bothered today? Just even a little bit. Yeah? Yeah. It's getting summer in our neighborhood, so we put the windows up. And we got this really loud neighbors who just yell at each other across the road. Hey, how are you? I'm like, shut up, I'm studying. Can't you see I'm studying? I'm trying to be a good Buddhist. You're so annoying. I'm like, uh-oh.
How about when someone hooked up to our...
That's right. This morning I leaped out of bed like another body was inside of me because someone hooked up to a really loud wireless speaker while Stephen was downstairs in the shower, and I thought it was Stephen, and I swear my body just went like, I don't know where this sound came from. And I'm looking at the device and I'm like, And in my mind, like this is what happened in my mind. It's like, it's your fault, you inconsiderate person. Right? Was that true?
No.
In reality, it wasn't. What if it was though? What if he did do it? Would my reaction necessarily come that way from that collection of things? No. But in the moment, I am lost in it. You're dragged by this thing called samsara. I am dragged by this thing called samsara. Yeah, meditation, practicing reality like we understand it, gives you the insight and the gap to apply that insight. That's the whole point of being here together. Really. And I bet you next time someone annoys you, you're going to be annoyed. I know, profound words. But you see, if you place the habit of understanding the emptiness of that sound towards that annoyingness, the emptiness, right? The fact that they could never have come from an annoyingness from that sound in that speaker. How do I prove it? I used that speaker the night before just as loud and enjoyed it. Easy, right? That's really logical. Yeah, but I controlled it. But the fact that boom boom came out of that thing at one point gave me and another point gave me Even that you could say must come from me, right? But I didn't. Immediately my mind went, it's someone else's fault. because I wouldn't hurt me, would I? And yet, every action I do hurts me. Every action like that, in reality, every reaction like that, opposing the neighbor's sound, opposing the speaker, disliking Stephen for being inconsiderate, which was even a fake reality, yeah? Who does that hurt the most? Those imprints in reality, they are occurring in me, for me, growing in me, and becoming more of what I project into the world. So then every sound becomes annoying. Every time he goes into the bathroom to shower, I'm expecting something terrible. And neuroscience and modern understanding tells us that the body follows suit and creates pathways to remind us of those terrible things easier and faster. Yeah, so we have that explanation. But withdrawing from that explanation, just the fact that my mind leaped over there just put an imprint in my mind that must return my mind there next time. Because that, like everything created, must grow. Like every imprint must grow. That's the only point for studying that. Yeah? Emptiness is the key. If at that moment where I was having the stimuli, if at that millisecond I understood emptiness, if I understood where things come from, the fact that there is no nature there, and that if annoyingness came up, it must have come from what I did in the past, right? If my mind was there, I could not get annoyed at others. Impossible to have them at the same time. I can't be realizing the fact that the hurt comes from me and be annoyed at you for it. Impossible. The fact that I'm annoyed at you informs me, it's my barometer that some ignorance is parked in my mind, some misunderstanding about the nature of reality, which we discuss here in nice detail. So, in essence, anytime you're upset, anytime you're annoyed, anytime you're disturbed, anytime you want something and you're not getting it, that's also classified as disturbed, okay? Ignorance is parked somewhere in your mind. And it doesn't mean you're stupid. It means that you have a habit of not understanding where things come from. And this discussion about, well, what does have a nature? What can I blame? And what can't I blame? Because it doesn't have a nature. Does that make sense? This is vital for your survival, really. You're all going to have amazing lives. And then you're not. You're all going to have some things that you like in your life and some things you don't like in your life. And if you're lucky, you'll grow old and frail. Okay? And in that process, you get to practice the thing that really matters, which is what's happening in your mind. How much you understand what this condition really is. Not what it appears, but what it really is. This thing called consciousness. It doesn't have to be merely a human experience. It can be more. It can be less, we know. It can be more. And that doesn't come from nowhere. It's caused. And understanding what causes it, this can save you. Really save you. All these big words we use in humanity, freedom, save, like all these things, they have a meaning. They come from something. A yearning for them means something. No suffering. Enlightenment, wake up. They mean something, but they mean something for you specifically. Yeah, so I need you to please make these classes relevant to that. The discussions we had were awesome. If you got it that much or you got it that much, I don't care. The fact that you had the discussion just put some imprints in your mind that will feed your reaction, your response to a stimuli. Yeah? You now got some more info in there. Hopefully, next time someone pisses you off, if you really dislike them, if you really hate them and don't want them around, be nice to them. That's the only way they're going to go away. Yeah? Good. I don't know why I'm talking like that, like you should do this, okay?
Because we should have.
No, because I feel that way about me. So look, why are we here? What's this thing? This thing, we've done this to death, but I just want to make sure we understand it, right? The Buddha did 3 turnings of the wheel of the Dharma, which we'll discuss in length today. What's turning mean? What's wheel of the Dharma? There's a whole study about that. But in essence, this bodhisattva, this person, who was sort of close to being realized, he was a very good person, said to the Buddha, hold on, I see some disparities in what you said the first time and then you said the second time. So you said the first time that things had a nature, that everything was the way it appeared, right? And we had to investigate them and treat them that way, like I have 5 heaps, really have 5 heaps, and da-da-da-da-da. Did you mean that? Or did you mean what you said the second time, which you sort of scared me? I mean, I'm paraphrasing there. You said that nothing has a ground, nothing has a nature. There's nothing with substance at all. We're living in this illusion that's complete illusion. Not even I exist as the way I think I exist. Did you mean that? And then, based on that question, the Buddha's answer became this sutra that we're studying, which is called the Commentary on the Sutras, which is not really a commentary. Geshe Michael went and looked for the Commentary on the Sutras in the part of the collection of works in the Tibetan canon that are the commentaries on the Buddha's words, right? And he could never find this sutra in there because it's called the Commentary on the Sutras. Because in that group of texts, the commentaries on the Buddha's words, what's in there? Commentaries. Commentaries meaning someone discussing the Buddha's words, right? But this one wasn't there. Why not? Because it's the Buddha's word. Auto commentary. It's his autobiography, right? He's like, let me comment on what I said before, right? So it sits in the body of work that are the sutras. Yeah. So that's where he found it eventually. So generally speaking, the first time the Buddha taught, he said things had a nature, and that helps certain people. Yeah. Like I tried to look at people in New York today on the subway and so on, and imagined saying, let's say we had 10 minutes together and I could teach you all I know in 10 minutes and then I'll never see you again. And I imagined this about the different people on the subway. And there were some people that were really lost in their lives, like mentally lost in their life or distracted. You can't sit there and go, listen, nothing exists by definition. Everything is your own fault. Yeah? You can't. Really. There was a lot of people I couldn't do that to. Practically, with a good conscience and think it would help them. So what would I tell them? Be nice to other people. Yeah? Don't be mean.
You tell them you like their shoes.
Yeah, I like your shoes. Can I have them? No. That'd be creepy. I like your shoes. So do you understand, if you had to go around and say, your highest wisdom now, that's it. Let's say after this week you're done with this world, you're off somewhere else, and you've got just next week to share your highest understanding to other people, and you really had to decide what to teach them. With some of the people, you know, you can't teach them emptiness in the way you understand emptiness if you've been studying in this class. Am I right? Yeah. Are you all sleepy or warm? I'm only giving you 2 choices. Yeah. Which it's called a diamond.
We're
Yeah.
cool in here.
It's cool.
Oh, I'm warm.
Oh, I'm caliente. Yeah, like hot sauce. Yeah.
It's picante, isn't it?
Oh, picante. That's true. That's also like pica is to bite. So picante is like it's got a bite to it. So the reason for studying emptiness is so you got that gap, right? And then when that gap comes, you can apply wisdom. And that over time will become your main habit. And next time someone pisses you off, instead of reacting negatively, you realize there's an emptiness to the situation. I'm copying this because I've done this in the past. My behavior will shift. When you do that over time, you will see a whole bunch of problems drop in your life. If you haven't seen Hector's TED Talk, watch it, because that's the story of the first time I put this into practice. I didn't want to. It was just my last resort. I tried everything else. I tried cheating on the boss. I tried lying to the boss. I tried making up stories to the boss. I tried asking other people to side on my side and not on his. And sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. My situation didn't get any better. And it wasn't until I changed something in me that everything changed. Yeah? Which is what these teachings tell you. So we got that, right? The Bodhisattva's like, please explain what you meant, the difference between things have a nature. Things exist. Because if they do, we're sort of screwed. Okay? If things exist out there separate to you, you're sort of screwed. May as well go have a good time. Yeah. So for those people, because that's not the way it does, the Buddha said, go be nice. Here is the 10 commandments. Don't kill people. Why? It stops you from planting stupid karma. You'll eventually get the benefits of that. Yeah? Etc., etc. Then he had Vulture's Peak. He taught what the middle way school says, the real thing. How things truly exist if you really get to some depth of your mind to see how it's experiencing reality. You really get, and when you're there, you can affect the code of the matrix. But then this dude comes up, the dude called the Bodhisattva, and says, explain, which means they didn't quite get it. They didn't quite get that thing. From this point of view, yeah?
No question. Why is there always just guys, never the woman?
Oh, yeah. There's women, believe me, there's a ton of women, and they're a little bit more intelligent than us. They're influencing the guys, yeah? But you'll get a ton more women when we talk a little higher teachings called Tantra. Honest, yeah, and that's about all I can tell you. Cool. Missions, that's what you really meant, that's literal. I get it. That's what the outcome of the exchange is going to be. Yeah? And I think the way I've been explaining it isn't quite right. Because I've been explaining it as if the mind-only school's view is this. Have I not?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sort of implies that there's this group of people called, we belong to the mind-only school, dude, and they don't, and we're going to take that. And it didn't work that way. If you think about it, it worked the other way. Here's a sutra, here's some ideas, and then you and I are going, out of all that stuff he said, we think this one's right? So we'll debate with them, and they said something weird, I don't understand what you mean, but so let's find some more people that believe what we believe, and you want to join our school? Don't you believe that some things, like, I know the Buddha said nothing had a nature, but my boss is a real asshole, right? That really, everybody that's worked for him hates him. Don't you hate him? Yeah, I hate him too. Then you belong to us, because those things have a nature and other things don't. Right? And so then we gather, and over the centuries, groups of people became known as schools. It wasn't like you get a certificate from the mind-only school. Okay? So that's what it is. And we're in no different right now. We are in the science school of thought in this time and age on our planet. We are. And you all believe it as much as I do, right? There is some substantial stuff up there called particles and energies that come together, and that's what creates the reality we are stuck in. And you believe that, and I believe that. And that's really close to the mind-only school, because those things are real, and this philosophy stuff is just the way I interpret all that stuff. That stuff that really exists out there. Right? Cool. So now let me confuse you a little bit before we have an easy class. You ready? Let's see, what's drang and what's nge? What's drang? How did you figure that out?
Came first.
Good, it came first, and I put an F and an L for you. Good. What does that mean in the mind-only school? Figurative. Something is figurative. Out of those three things that the Buddha taught, two are figurative, right? And according to the mind-only thinkers, the first two are figurative, right? Meaning, he didn't mean it when he said everything has a nature, and he didn't mean it when he said nothing has a nature. He meant something in between. And that's literal, right? So, what's figurative mean? Describe what your understanding of figurative is.
Figurative is sort of like describing something by describing something else. Something like
a metaphor.
It's like a metaphor. It's not the real thing. Yeah?
Finger pointing at the moon.
Finger pointing at the moon. Give me more.
You say one thing, but you mean something else.
You say one thing, you mean something. What's literal in the mind-only school? The way we understand it.
You say something exactly how you mean it.
Exactly how you mean it, right? We mean that, right? We believe that. That's true. That's exactly what it means in the mind-only school. Congratulations, you're all mind-only schools. But the middle way school have different meanings for literal and figurative. Sorry. So when they say figurative, drang, they don't mean what we just said. They mean something else.
Wait, middle way now or my
Middle way.
Sorry.
Madhyamika, Prasangika. Yeah? And lower middle way. They don't mean literal the way you just described, which is the way I understand it, right? We understand figurative to mean it implies something else. It's not really the full truth. Yeah? And literal means it really is the way it is. You can take it on face value. Right? In the middle way school, figurative, literal means it's talking about the main point of Buddhism, which is emptiness. And so any teaching to be taken literally is a teaching where predominantly that teaching is about emptiness. And any teaching that's to be taken figuratively is any teaching that does not have that as its main subject matter. I think that's correct, right?
The dharmas and everything relates to the emptiness. Like the emptiness of visuals.
Yeah, exactly. So everything that relates to emptiness, that's literal in the middle way. So when they have these debates, and this is interesting because when we are trying to understand things, we are so stuck in our point of view of understanding things that we forget to check what the other person's point of view is, no? Yeah, so here is a perfect example of two philosophical schools that grew over time that have different meanings when they say drang and nect. Figurative and literal. Did I say it right? I couldn't read it on my screen. I did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Figurative doesn't focus on emptiness. Literal, it's all about emptiness, right? So, for the mind-only school, is the third turning of the wheel where some things needed definition, figurative or literal?
Literal.
Huh?
For the mind-only school, it's literal.
For the mind-only school, is the third turning of the wheel where the Buddha said, look, some things have a nature and some don't. Literal or figurative?
Literal.
Literal is right. Ding. For the middle way school, is the third turning of the wheel where the Buddha went into lots of detail about what has nature and what doesn't. Figurative or literal?
Figurative.
Literal.
It's both.
Right? For the mind-only school, understanding the middle way school, it's
The mind-only school.
Wait, what?
figurative. For the mind-only school, listening to what the middle way thinks about it, they think it's figurative, right? Because what's the middle way really believe? What out of those three, if you had to pinpoint the most literal for the middle way school, which one is it? Number two, right? Because the Buddha said absolutely nothing. It's all emptiness, not some things. So out of the three, right? We'll talk more about it. That's an important distinction, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
what was the answer? Number 3.
What was the answer to?
Number 3 is considered figurative in the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what would the mind-only school say about us middle way people? Oh, they needed that second turning to understand the real teaching, which they couldn't quite get. Right?
Did you not get that something truly appears to be the way that it is, if that's the way that we automatically interpret the world?
No, I didn't say that. I said for the mind-only people, looking at the middle way people who are saying that the second turning is literal, that nothing has a nature, right?
No,
They think, mind-only thinks, we needed that second turning to let us come up to the real understanding that something's doing, something don't. Yeah?
Would the middle way consider, with the third turning, weren't there some things that agree with middle way? The
Of course.
middle way would then take as literal in addition? So
Within that, absolutely, yeah.
They would consider both figurative and
Yeah.
literal.
And you could get really good mind-only scholars who would also think that the second turning was meant for mind-only, because they would interpret it in the right way. It's still meant for them, it's just to be interpreted. Yeah, so some really good scholars and you could see this through the commentaries, of which please read them, they're fun, and I've put 3 sheets up here for you to read, because I thought we'll do that today. Yeah, you'll see the sutra and you see how it works, and then you get more of an understanding of what we're trying to talk here. Yeah, so the outcome of the exchange I just covered, right? This might be your first question in your exam, in your quiz, right? So you'll see when we read it now that the outcome of the exchange was the Bodhisattva going, oh, I get it, Buddha. You meant in the first turning that you taught at Varanasi, where you talked about the Four Truths, etc. We're supposed to take that figuratively. Oh, and I get it, Buddha. When you said the second turning at Vulture's Peak, you taught the Heart Sutra and all this other stuff, you meant that for certain people who didn't have my capacity, and that's also figurative. But in this exchange that we're having, third turning, you meant that literally, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm going to invite you to read the Bodhisattva's outcome of the exchange, just because it's a good thing to hear, for the first, second, and third turning. So what I summarized there, I'm going to ask you to read the sutra, because I'm going to ask who has been reading the reading online. And there should be one hand going up, and that's Rachel's. Cool. Excellent. It's exactly no, and that's exactly what I did in the 90s, right? And so I had to go back and do it, and so I thought I'll just force it on you, but in a nice way. Who has a good reading voice and isn't embarrassed to read like me? Yeah?
Yeah.
Loud, okay? Here it comes. Is that too small?
No.
Cool.
O conqueror, you taught first in the land of Varanasi, in the forest full of wild animals, the wood of the saints. You imparted a teaching on the subject of the four realized truths to those who had entered perfectly the way of the listeners. And in doing so, you turned perfectly a wheel of the Dharma which was amazing and awe-inspiring, one which no being, neither God nor man, had ever turned accurately in this world ever before. And conqueror, this perfect turning of the wheel of the Dharma was one which had something higher. It was one which left an opening. It was one which had to be interpreted further, and it was one which could serve as a basis for contention.
Okay, so isn't it nice? Bodhisattva's like, oh, that was awesome. Nobody has ever said those words about the first turning. They're really true. And they help some people who need help. The listeners. The Hinayana. Right? We'll talk about that in a second. But it left an opening. He gave 4 statements there. You'll see them again. Peter, you want to read the next one?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then, O conqueror, you turn the wheel of the Dharma a second time for the benefit of those who had entered perfectly the greater way. This time you took an appearance of speaking of emptiness, doing so by bringing up first the fact that no existing thing could ever have any nature of its own, and then going on to the facts that nothing could ever grow, and that nothing could ever stop, and that everything was extinct from the very beginning, and that everything was, by its very nature, completely beyond all grief. This turning of the wheel of the Dharma was one which was ever so amazing. Do you want me to read that part too? Yes. And ever so awe-inspiring. And conqueror, this turning of the wheel of the Dharma as well was one which had something higher. It was one which left an opening. It was one which had to be interpreted further. And it was one which could serve as a basis for contention.
Great. What do you think he's going to say next about the third turning of the wheel?
But it was amazing and awe-inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. And then?
And
It needed no
further interpretation.
Right, Kurt, you want to read?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And then, O conqueror, you turn the wheel of Dharma a third time, imparting a teaching to those who had entered perfectly. Every one of the different ways you spoke to them of how to make the fine distinctions. And you did this by bringing up first the fact that no existing thing could ever have any nature of its own. And then going on to the facts that nothing could ever grow, and that nothing could ever stop, and that everything was extinct from the very beginning, and that everything was, by its very nature, completely beyond all grief. This too was a turning of the wheel which was amazing and awe-inspiring. But conqueror, this turning of the wheel of the Dharma was one which had nothing higher. It was one which left no opening. It was one which could be taken literally. And it was one which could never serve as a basis for contention.
Right. So So this is the one where he gave the 3 attributes. Okay, this third teaching. If you read the readings before, what were the 3 attributes?
Constructs, dependent things,
Dependent things, constructs,
totality.
and totality or emptiness. Give me what dependent things are called in Tibetan? Shenwangs. And constructs are called kuntaks. And emptiness or totality means yangdrup.
What are they again? Totality, what and what?
Totality, which is a code for emptiness, is a yangdrup. Kuntak is a mental construct, the stuff that happens in your mind in relation to, according to this school, a real thing out there, which is the object out there called the Shenwang.
Naming something.
Naming is the construct. So
Totality, mental constructs, and what else?
objects.
Object.
Yeah.
Which is what?
Shenwangs.
Which means what?
It just means dependent things. Anything that's changing. 99.999% of all things around us. So I just want you to, because this might be question 4.
Thanks.
Yeah?
Thanks.
You're welcome. This might be question 4 on your quizzes and homeworks. To have something higher means there's something left unsaid, right? Something, so it's to be taken not literally, and there must be a higher truth. I wonder what higher truth there is. What higher truth could there be than the first turning of the wheel? To have something higher. The third turning, right? According to this guy's, there's something higher. From the Bodhisattva's point of view, what is that higher thing? The thing that I believe is true, that we've just understood, right? What's it mean to leave an opening? Opening for other interpretations. Again, it's sort of something to be disputed, right? Someone might come up and say, well, I don't fully agree there, right? And leaves an opening. What would it mean to be interpreted further?
Like commentaries or not literal.
Yeah, not literal. Yeah, so there's something that requires further interpretation, obviously. And basis for contention means dispute. We're going to have a fight about it. Someone's going to have a fight about it, right?
So if it's not literal, it's not the truth in this school.
Whoa.
It's not the full truth. Yeah, you can say part truth. It's not the full picture. Yeah.
But if there's an opening, it's not literal.
Correct. Yeah. And literal in this school means to be taken at face value. It is what he meant. Yeah. Like we tell half-truths all the time. Yeah. You actually see the Dalai Lama doing this. If you ever saw the Dalai Lama teaching at a public talk, or then you heard and read the translation when he teaches a Tibetan monk group, he's very wrathful and very to the point and very not so soft. Yeah? He's like, you should do it this way, that way. And then in a public talk, he's more like, we could do this and we could do that. And he's not lying, right? But he's addressing the audience. So this separate topic that I talked about that goes on for about 6 months at a college, early on in your monkhood or nunhood thing, is the understanding of the turnings of the wheel. And that's what we're going to spend the next 15 minutes or 10 minutes on. I'm going to give you a beautiful chart, which I suggest you photograph, copy, or write. If you write, it's better. And if you saw in the things we read, they talked about where this teaching was taught, what the main subject of the teaching was, to whom, what's the audience, the group of disciples that it was taught at, right? That was this list. Did you notice that? Well, here's the list. The period of time that he taught the first turning of the wheel, the second turning of the wheel, and the third turning of the wheel. Let's see if you... is the first turning of the wheel, second turning of the wheel, and third turning of the wheel something linear?
No.
What is it?
They collected it together. He spoke them all around the same time.
Roughly, you could say the first turning of the wheel happened when? Actually, you can say when the first turning of the wheel happened. When did it happen?
When he came to his friends in the forest.
Which friends?
The 4 or 7 people that...
Five. Who were those 5 in a previous life?
Tigers.
They ate him, right? The tigress. Yeah, cool. So those 5 ascetics, yeah, they weren't alkaline.
Are you saving that?
No, I just made it up. Those 5 ascetics got the first turning of the wheel. Sorry, thanks for explaining a bad joke.
And then he kept talking that way for a while.
He kept talking that way for a while. So you could say generally the first turning of the wheel happening at what period? The early period of his teaching. But in reality, any time he taught about the 4 truths, the 5 heaps, or anything like that as having some kind of nature, even if he taught it just before he passed, that's grouped as the first turning. Yeah? And what do you think the second turning? When was that taught? Give me an example of what he taught in the second turning.
Heart Sutra.
Heart Sutra, Diamond Cutter Sutra. Okay.
Did you say Lotus Sutra?
I don't know if it does, but it probably
You
does.
said something else though.
I can't remember.
I forgot another sutra that I've never heard of.
That would be Mahayana.
Yeah, it's a Mahayana Emptiness Sutra. Yeah. Prajnaparamita in general. Yeah. So where did he teach that? What location would you give to that? What place would you give to that? Vulture's Peak. Why?
All of them?
That is that everything has a nature, right? See if you can guess that for the second, those of you. In debate, you'd be asked, okay, give me the second turning of the wheel. What place? Vulture's Peak. Viewpoint.
Nothing has nature.
Disciples. What type?
Oh, middle way.
Mahayana. Okay? I'm giving it according to this sutra. Okay? Main subject, emptiness. Shunyata, Tongpan. Yeah? Third turning. Do you know where that was taught? When was it taught?
The third period.
The third period, towards the end. Yeah, cool. Fine distinctions. It was a place called Vaishali. And get this, it was taught for everyone. You read it, I think, when Kurt read it. It was taught for everyone, meaning Hinayana and Mahayana. And to me, when I read that, I'm like, oh, that's a clue, right? No? Isn't that a nice clue? But I'm still, if I'm middle way, if I'm mind only, I'm disregarding that, going, oh, everyone means it's the right teaching.
I don't get it. Sorry, why is that such a clue?
Can someone tell me why that's a clue?
You don't get it?
Isn't it like how you were saying, like he's teaching?
I'm going to teach you the way things are not.
He's teaching
Yeah?
to his audience, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to teach you a lie, okay? I'm just exaggerating it. I'm going to teach you a lie, okay, everybody? Good. Now I'm going to teach you the way things really are, okay? Real truth. Second turning. Now I'm going to teach you something that covers all of you. Which one is correct?
Second.
Right? Do you see that or not?
Yeah.
Because in the third one, I have to put in stuff to bring the others up. To me, that was a clue. That was like, ooh, that's cool. If I was middle way, I'd be going, of course the second turning is literal. He meant it. Because he had to incorporate everybody in the third turning. But that's just my thing. That didn't come from any commentary. And I highly recommend you read it. So then, figurative or literal, we did this. Yeah? Mind only. Figurative, figurative. Everyone agrees. Flip, flip. Yeah?
Is MW middle way?
Yeah, middle way. And then, if you want to feel a little superior, don't. Because that's a sure way to fall down. I'm lucky to be Hinayana sometimes in this explanation. Most of my day, 99.9% of my day, I'm fighting with a reality that exists out there. Don't you? Yeah? And every now and then, when a miracle happens, today a little miracle happened for me. Yeah? I was reading up on what a Dharma wheel, what it is really, where it came from. Yeah? And I'll share that with you in a second. And then I look up at the sky, I'm going past this statue of freedom lady. Yeah. So there's a sexy woman statue. Yeah, she was liberating, for instance, a woman. And then no, I like them and women, and but not that way. And then behind her was this beautiful, huge disc. Like, my mind is all about Dharma wheel and where they come from, and they are huge and they sit in the sky and they relate to freedom. And I'm like, wow, that only meant something for me, directed to me, and it was like a little miracle coming into my mind. It was stunning, and you could see it on the Instantgram. Yeah, on the Instantgram. Yeah. I don't know why I got
So
there.
you had a ripening.
I had a ripening. Yeah. Oh, that's where I was going. Most of the time.
Instant karma.
Yeah, most of the time. Well, no, it can't be instant karma. It looks like instant karma. It looks like yoga. When you're doing yoga and you think you're doing, you get an instant result. It can't come from an instant. You don't plant a seed and then get a fruit, right? It.
Who says?
Test it. Go farming. good debate there. Some seeds will come up faster than others, like the 3 beans and this beanstalk. Yeah.
What?
No.
Jack
Jack and the beanstalk.
You're Jack.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that most of the time we are lucky to be Hinayana thinkers, where we think the world that we're experiencing, the sensations even that come from our body and all that, are somehow forcing our experience. Yeah, and that's the blind, that's the illusion, that's the way it can't possibly be when you investigate it. And every now and then, when you have a little millisecond of analysis, like when that little miracle happened for me, I had the space to go, where could that have come from? Because I know all these other people around me are just looking at this statue going, boring, it's a statue. Yeah? And then the little circle in the sky, it was like, nice, okay. Circle in the sky. Yeah, and for me, it had all this meaning about Dharma, the teaching. Right? Something ripened in my mind, and it was mine, right? And it didn't come from the ring, and it didn't come from the statue, and I was aware enough for a millisecond that there was some arising happening in my mind which gave me bliss, which could only have come from other moments where I tried to give bliss to others. And all of a sudden, here it was in the shape of a woman called freedom. Wow. Yeah, in the shape of a sky and a massive thing that I get to share with you guys tonight. Magic for me. Everyone else? Boring.
We're so lucky.
Right? And happy for you to see it. Here's another chart, because I thought if I add 2 charts, you'd be very impressed. This chart, I've shown you part before, but it really is a small breakup of the schools. And I've shared a more detailed one of this chart where you get to see, so functionalist and independent, what's Hinayana, what's Mahayana, what are they called in ancient India, like the Svatantrika or the Sautantrika, and what's their view really about emptiness. And then you should really know what their view is about dependent origination, and you should know what their view is about the Gakja, which is
The thing that doesn't exist.
the thing that doesn't exist, the thing that you always are interacting with that could never exist in the first place. Like a statue that gave me that sensation from her own side. Yeah? If I didn't have my right mind, I'm going to go and hang out with that statue every day and hope for another miracle and put flowers to her and so on. If I thought that sensation came from the statue. Yeah? It sounds bizarre, doesn't it? But don't you go to your partner for that buzz, to your job for that security, to your pills for your health, or your drugs for your buzz, or whatever you do? Don't you go for your sexy time for the buzz? Yeah? I know we're not supposed to talk about sex, but I like it. No, seriously, because sex is so powerful. We're so strong about a sexual experience, right? Who's had really bad sex in this room? Yeah?
In this room.
You know? Okay, that's why you shouldn't do about sex. Okay. I am happy to show you a more detailed version of the previous chart and that chart over there. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, put up your hand if you've had sex in this room. That's not what I meant. I was figurative.
And broadcast.
So that's it. That's the class today. But I want to share with you this thing about the wheel. Okay? Does anybody know what a chakravartin is? Chakravartin.
A heart chakra.
Nope. Chakra means what?
Wheel.
Yeah. A chakravartin is this king, this emperor. Yeah, or queen. That's I'm making fun. When you do this, yeah. When you do the long mandala offering, you go no Rinpoche, no Rinpoche, no Rinpoche. There's the king and the queen and the da. And there are all these world emperors who fly around these magic discs that are 2,000 miles an hour. No, 2,000 miles wide. They're like these UFOs of the past, pre-Buddha time. Okay, and they fly around the 4 continents of the mandala offering, and they bring wisdom to the populations in those places. The Chakravartinis, I'll share something in a second about it, but I found this really cool picture from the 1500s of a sighting of some Chakravartins on planet Earth. I know Dharma can get a little weird about now, but I thought I'd go there. This was 1560 something in Germany. There was a sighting for about an hour or two of these orbs fighting in the sky, reported by many people. There's tons of drawings online, whatever. But this was, there were all these orbs, and then there was these long things, and they were obviously fighting, and they all crashed somewhere in the ocean or something. But it was also about 3,000 years ago as well. In what's modern day Syria? What's that thing back then? Persia, Babylon. So there's this king, this emperor, right, who has a flying disc. Yeah, and when you read the Abhidharma Kosher and you get to hear about these emperors, these influential beings who have evolved, and this is when humans reach that certain level of evolution, you can see and connect with them, and they fly in these discs which are like spaceships. They're 2,000 miles in diameter. They travel at 500,000 miles an hour a day, and they carry the emperor and their forces, which go around influencing all these universes, right? Apparently. And that's where the idea of the chakra or the wheel of the Dharma came from. So when the Buddha is saying to turn the wheel of the Dharma, it's a reference to these beings who are almost Buddhas. Yeah, they say they have some marks close to the marks of the Buddha, but they're a little bit off or something, right? And they can travel great distances to bring peace and so on. There's a story about the highest Chakravartin has a disc that's gold-like, and when you do more advanced practices, you have to visualize these things and what it could really mean and blah blah blah. And everyone begs them to please teach us. Please bring peace to my land. Please, we'll do everything. The whole population will do anything for you to be our leader. Okay? And then there's a little bit lower where they have a silver disc, and they mostly have to be asked to come, but they sort of have to have elections. Yeah, it's like, oh, maybe you or maybe you. Some people like them, some people don't. And then there's those with copper and iron discs, and they get lower and lower until people are like, they threaten the population. You take me as your leader, or I'll blow you up, or I'll call Russia or whatever. So you get the idea, right, of the Chakravartins. There's this story about these huge discs that travel great distances across the universe, that carry emperors, that influence planets and universes. Pretty cool story.
Is this figurative?
That's good question. This is Abhidharma, so this is lowest school.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Would this be considered the Garam or just a...
Good. I think it could be. I don't really know. Yep.
Yeah.
But the turning of the wheel refers to that kind of wheel. And the metaphor here is that so this is not part of this teaching, but I thought it'd be nice if you got to understand what the wheel meant, turning of the wheel. Yeah? Turning of the wheel means that you as a practitioner, if you understand what the Buddha really meant, if you really get what the Buddha meant, you would have a kind of power. If you get realizations from those teachings, every time he turned a wheel, you'd be like an emperor on a wheel. Yeah? what's travel great distances mean? It would mean, let's take a realization that you could get from a turning of the wheel. What's the most ultimate realization you want to get? Emptiness. A deep understanding of shunyata, right? If you got that realization, you would be like a being who sits on a dharma wheel and travel great distances in a millisecond, because immediately from coming down from the direct perception of emptiness, you could read any scripture, any one of the words of the Buddha's words, and understand its true meaning instantly. Like you've traveled the entire path of the Buddha's teaching in a day, in the period where you have those four truths realized in your mind immediately. So you get to, like, you bring your whole army of realizations to your reality, to your world, the suffering world of samsara, and you are like an emperor with your golden disc. And with that realization of the Dharma, you travel vast distances across all the schools of Buddhist thought, all the suffering of your world, and you can transform it
You
quickly.
don't have to habituate first.
Sorry?
Like, don't you have to go through habituate? Like,
You do. I'm saying you get realizations and realizations. Each time you turn the wheel, you get some. But the most awesome one, the one that would travel you the deepest, is the one of emptiness. Yep. Great. So I thought that would be really cool for you to understand that the spiritual realizations, particularly the path of seeing, are compared to the Chakravartin, the emperor, which is what you become. You become like this almighty being who can truly see every experience and how to respond with it with wisdom, and that lets you travel great distances in this horrible place called samsara, where you are lost, not knowing what to do next, really. And if you are lost, who have studied this stuff, imagine the rest of the creatures out there who are currently enjoying some goodness or some terribleness, but they don't know some causes, the real causes behind their experience of this world. Yeah. And so then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about this idea of turning. There's two types of dharma. Do you remember that from the Dharmankara Sutra?
Written dharma.
Written dharma or spoken dharma, which is why it was written, called lung. Yeah.
And the dharma which exists in everything.
No. That written, the realizations. There's the written dharma and the realizations they produce. Yeah? That's what the turning part of it means. So first of all, there's two types, right? According to the Dharmankara Sutra, based on what you remember, what happens at the end of time? Sorry, Abhidharma Kosha, that describes at the end of time when the Dharma disappears from the world in the last 500, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a collection of bodhisattvas that study these teachings.
There is a collection of bodhisattvas who do get these teachings.
The realizations die.
What dies first, the teachings or the realizations?
Realizations.
Why? Why?
Because there's no one
Practicing.
There's no one practicing. There's no one turning them on. So there'll be books, libraries full of books, CD-ROMs full of information, laptops full of words that say mind only, tongpanyi, dependent origination, emptiness, and people don't know what it means.
Yeah.
There's no humans with realizations in them, and they die first. And later die these books, no one keeps them, and so on, right? So that's the story about how this whole story ends for those that don't have the karma to see it end a different way, which is what the Dharmankara Sutra was saying. Let's see if you remember something else that was a little weird. What did the Dharmankara Sutra say? What's the last 500 really mean? How long does the Dharma stay in the world? 5,000 years. What happens in the middle of those 5,000 years, the year 2,500? Moves to the land of the red-faced or red-cheeked, which it does. That's awesome. You remember that, right?
China.
The Dharma, the realizations in the books, move to the land of the rosy-cheeked white folk, the red-faced folk. It's you guys. They're not being prejudiced. Yeah, it really is you.
I don't have rosy.
Get out. It's the land belonging to them.
Does it really belong to me?
No, stop it. Get out. So there's two types of Dharma, the written one and the realization ones. Which ones do you want to get?
The realization.
A realization stays with you, won't change from you. When you wake up, when you get a realization, it doesn't go away. You get a bunch of them until you get one that is the non-returner, no turning back point. Which is Seeing emptiness directly. You're then called a stream enterer. Yeah, you enter the conveyor belt into
The chocolate factory.
chocolate factory.
If you see Dharma, if you're able to read Dharma as Dharma, that's huge.
No, of course, but that was my next question. How do you get the realizations? How do you get the realization of the physical Dharma?
You have to hear it.
Teach people Dharma.
No, like literally, how do you get it? You've got to read it, you've got to study it, you've got to put in hours of habituation in here, you've got to have a teacher, you've got to someone to tell you what it means. If you read those 3 things that we all read together, or if you grabbed that and gave it to somebody in the subway, would they know what it means?
No.
Would they know how to apply it? No. Can they have a realization?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's a lottery, right? You need a teacher to guide you, right? Which is the second kind. You get realizations. Yeah? And turning means just that. It means from the teachings, from classroom hours, from your relationship with who you deem teachers, you sit there, you go, oh, let me think about it. Oh, that's right. That was annoying. That was good. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. And then you do that enough, and then what happens? You change your habit somewhere inside until it becomes an aha. And then you apply. You habituated it. You got some realization, good and bad. Go, oh, that's going to cause problems. That might not. And you're moderating your life. And that's the turning. The turning is this beautiful thing where if you've had the fortune to meet a teacher who says 2 words to you and your heart bursts open because you've heard a truth, and you're like, oh, I'm experiencing the meaning of that for days and months and years if you're fortunate. And then you moderate behavior. That just turned the wheel of the Dharma of realizations, the real Dharma. Yeah? It moved from them to you. And then what do you do with that? You get old and grey and you tried it and you've had some success in some and not in others. And what do you do with that? You give it to someone else. Yeah? And then can I guarantee that you're going to get it the way I got it? No. But what happens to you? If you listen with a pure heart, with a clean motivation, you might turn something on. And then what are you going to do with that? Teach it on. And that's the turning part of the turning of the Dharma. That's the turning part. So that's it. Your meditation is what I covered earlier, but now it means something. You sit there in your meditation over the next week and think, what does it mean? If I'm a normal Joe, what does it mean to look through these 3 turnings of the wheel where the Buddha taught things exist from their own side, things don't, and then half and half. And really think through it. If I'm a mind-only person, how do I see that? If I'm a middle-way person, how do I see that? Just be honest, just play with your mind. And it doesn't matter. There's no getting it right, no getting it wrong. It's just habituating a different view. Yeah? And it all will help you figure out your life problems, because that's what this is for. The less of those you have, then you're going to have a little bit of leisure. What do you do with that leisure? If you're smart, you're going to turn the wheel. Yeah? Turn the wheel. Practice it. Get it inside. Share it. Be kinder to other people. And then let those seeds ripen. Let them come up. Yeah? Thank you for letting me blah blah. Thank you for...
Can you go back to it just a minute?
I can go back to it. It is here. It just means I can't... Oh. Did you get it? Not yet. Here it is. That's me typing.
I love the way
really
it's
fast.
turning.
Yes, if you notice, that's 3 distinct turns, which is actually annoying at the moment because I can't go forward to the...
What?
It's gonna... I have to wait.
For it to stop.
Boring. Yeah. I think it's one more. Yeah. 3rd turning of the wheel. Meditate on it.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Okay, so here you imagine a perfect universe, and maybe you want to throw some Chakravardhans in there flying around, helping everybody get worked up. And then dedicate any goodness we did to everybody that needs some assurance in their world, some Buddha waking up next to them, saying a word on the subway, or picking up a book and it having meaning, and maybe everybody on the planet for the next millisecond gets an answer that they've been needing because we're sharing our wisdom with them. Okay. So, do you want to go, Victoria? Ki jushi meto tram rira ling shi Sayami Di Gyokun Sunam Yeshe Sotsok Shin Sunam Yeshe Lejun Wei Dampa Kuni Topasho. Thank you for paying attention, being here, dedicating some of your life to figuring it out.
Thank you.
Dedicate it to other people, please.